Hey guys, so I'm going to keep going on the meditation stories. This is the third in the series, meditation retreat stories. Not so much about what happens with the mind, though I'll touch on that. So especially if you've experienced a meditation retreat, I'm sure you will relate. So just to recap, I went to a retreat out in California, and it was held in a primarily Asian retreat center. And I was not used to that. I was usually going to like Western European run centers, and there is like this there is a difference. This was run by people who were ethnically Burmese, Thai, and Vietnamese, and it was wonderful. But I hit upon some interesting cultural things, even though I was here in America. So one of the things, oh my gosh, there was a young woman sitting next to me, and last time I talked about how you got your own little box. So you had to sit. That was it. You had to sit where you were assigned. Now again, in a Western center, that's not typical. Typically you pick where you want to sit, but I was assigned, as I remember, to sit there. Typically also in Western European run centers, you're advised not to wear fragrance. Okay, I was used to that at the Insight Meditation Society, and I think a lot of centers do that. You're not allowed to wear fragrance because there's this real, people are sensitive, blah blah blah. Like, it's really taken to extreme, and it's respected generally. People, even your deodorant is not supposed to have any scent. Everything, your cream, unscented, your shampoo, everything. So share your comments if you've experienced that, all right? So I go to this center, again, in the Asian community. Didn't know, I'm sitting next to this woman, and everything, so it was a series of things. First, I swear I'm not making this up, every single time she would come in late. Now, as I said, this is a very strict tradition. This is the Burmese tradition, and even, as I said, they're all different ethnicities, primarily Asian, but the tradition is Burmese. The monks are Burmese. They're extremely strict. The one woman sitting next to me would be the one person in a hall of maybe 50 people. She came in late every single time. So again, the monkey mind, which we all have, this is part of the meditation, as I said, is to see that. I'm sitting there. The bell rings, right? We're starting. We're meditating. I would hear her come in, and I'm sorry, this is where it gets funny. So she'd come in late like every single time, right? And we'd sit multiple times a day. You do walking meditation, you do seated meditation. You do walking meditation, you do seated meditation. So you're coming into the hall multiple times. Every time this woman was late, every single time. So I'd hear her, I have to get something to make this. I'd hear her open, oh my God, I don't have a zip. So the hall is absolutely quiet, you guys. 50 people sitting in meditation, not a sound. And then I would hear this, like a zipper opening, right? And then I'd hear her rustling around. Let's bring that in my makeup. She'd be rustling around, and she'd just continue. And this would continue for a few minutes. There's absolute silence, nothing else. And just right next to me, just this every time. And then, I think the first time she did this, I don't think she did this the very first time she was wrestling around, but then she took out some sort of bomb, like let's just say it was a tiger balm. You guys, if you ever smell tiger balm, you know how strong it is. I mean, it works on that scent, that camphor and eucalyptus, right? So again, I'm coming from meditation centers where you're like absolutely not allowed to put on anything with the scent. Just no, right? That's the etiquette. Sitting next to this woman, she comes in late every time, opens her little cosmetic thing, and proceeds. And you have to have done a retreat to know, and this is in America, to know this is just. She proceeds to like rub ointment on herself. So I'm sitting there, my eyes are closed, trying to meditate, and the smell of like tiger balm comes by, and camphor, and eucalyptus, and it's like, oh my God. I was like, are you serious? She's really doing this? Because it's just not done. But again, that's in like these Western centers, not ethnically Western centers. Apparently, I came to find out they didn't have a rule. After this happened, I want to say 4 times, because I said, you know, maybe she's got a cough. She's putting Tiger Balm, just calm yourself down. Okay. She did this like 4 times or 5 times before I was like, oh my God. She comes into the meditation hall and she applies the Tiger Balm. She doesn't even apply it in her room, you guys. She puts it on when she gets to the meditation hall. Dead quiet. Nobody's speaking. Nobody sneezes, and you hear her doing this. Finally, I go to the office, and I was really at my breaking point. I told him, I can't do this. There's this woman, she sits next to me. She's always late, number 1. And then she always puts on the Tiger Balm. And they just looked at me, and they looked at me sort of sadly, and I was like, oh, you know. And I was a little embarrassed because I thought, you know, I shouldn't complain. Hold on, I think that someone's going to come in and going to interrupt. So I'm going to actually pause for 1 second. So you can see the light has changed. So I'll continue on with the Tiger Balm story. So anyway, I'm in the office now and I'm saying, you know, my God, and I said to them, you know, I'm just not used to this. Usually the centers where I go, like we specifically can't wear scents, and they're like, yes, you know, but in the Asian community, it's very common for people to put on things like that, ointments and so on. I was like, oh, okay, you know, and I was like, okay. And they're like, we don't have a rule against it. But they did basically, you know, kind of say, this person does have an issue with lateness. So they knew who she was. They knew who the person was, and they're just like, yeah, this is something that we have tried to work with them about. So it wasn't the Tiger Balm for the administration. It was more it's basically like disrespectful to come in late. So it ended up that they were like, well, we'll move you. So then I was really embarrassed. I'm like, oh God, you can't move me. Suddenly I'm somewhere else. She'll wonder, you know, because you get very sensitive when you're meditating. And I just was like, so they're like, no, we think we have someone who'll switch with you. Like right away, they're like, no, we'll figure it out. Anyway, it turns out that another girl, Western girl, which is interesting. I don't know why they specifically picked her. I think she was quite experienced, actually. In fact, I know she was an experienced at that center. Apparently, she was like okay with switching with me because of the Tiger Balm and the coming in late. But then, this is where it gets weird. It turns out, I think she was way in the back, and there was some reason I was sitting very close to the front, and they offered this to me, and I said, oh, you know, I felt bad, like, I don't know. But then somehow I ended up in the front. I don't know if it was just that I said, gosh, you know, I really don't want to move all the way to the back. I like being in the front. I can hear better, whatever. I'm really not sure, you guys. I hope I wasn't totally being a diva at that point. But for some reason, I think at the last minute, they switched. They switched me. I think I was like, fine, yeah, because it's the back. It's okay. But for some reason, I ended up sitting like 1 row from the front, like right in front of Sayadaw Ji. Now, what you have to know is that I was really also very scared of him, scared of his like abilities, and I really felt, and I still do, that he could basically sort of read your mind. I know that sounds weird. Those of you, though, who are hardcore meditators and maybe have been to Asia, you've had experiences with teachers where it seems like they know exactly where you are mentally, what's happening for you. And it almost feels like they're reading your mind. It's not considered unprecedented that would be the case. So after complaining, I get moved to right in front of the teacher, which, you know, terrifies me more. So I'm like, great, I should have just sat there and breathed Tiger Balm every day for hours and deal with her lateness and her opening zippers. It's fine. So I'm now sitting in front of the teacher, and the thing with that is, because it's so strict, there's a sense that, you know, you don't want to be in the front, you know, fiddling around or doing so. You feel more in the spotlight. Just like, you know, if you're a person in a classroom, right? And you know how some people always sit in the back. Those people are always in the back. And those people are always in the front. So anyway, it just became, so I ended up being absolutely just terrified and dealing with the fact that I was now basically like almost at the foot of the teacher because I was in like 1 row back or something. That was incredibly stressful. So the meditation saga continued. I felt even more like never be late, not that I was, and just don't even cough. It was just very, very stressful. If you'd ever think meditation, can be stressful, and you hear retreat and people think, oh, that sounds so relaxing. Right. Namaste, you guys. Share your comments below on if you've taken a meditation retreat or if you have any questions about going on a retreat. Bye-bye.